Lunch.
You are looking live.
Live at lunch. Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Hannegriff.
Yeah, for some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live? Is it live?
From Mike Anderson Seafood, Wesley at Nicholson. Welcome to the Tuesday edition. Live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Hannegriff, Jimmy Ott, Max Gotro. Jordan Kinchin's back in the studio. Andy Isco with us today. Seminara with us today. Hey, he's popping Justin Thomas in the top five. Nice shot
nice.
on Friday. Last Tuesday before the PGA Championship. He's had a good run and looks to continue that today. The SEC, ACC, and Big Ten tournaments are all underway. We're on day number one. LSU, of course, will play the last game tonight, Game 4, somewhere in the vicinity of 8 o'clock. Game 1 is in the fifth inning with Missouri and Ole Miss tied at 2. Duke and North Carolina State are tied at 7 in the ACC tournament, and Michigan State leading Purdue 8-0 at Charles Schwab Field, site of the Big Ten tournament. We've got wall-to-wall college baseball every day this week, starting today. So we'll keep you up to date on that. The Spurs with a great win last night. It was a great NBA game, and you guys are going to talk about that a little bit later. But we start today.
Finally.
Yeah, that was the highest level. I got everything out of superstar, player, crowd.
Are you going to be going
it.
later? I just got to ask you.
Yeah.
You don't think this is the finals?
Yeah.
This was a different level, man.
Yesterday I gave the Knicks a chance, but if they play like they played last night, those two teams, it's hard to see the Knicks. And I like the Knicks, okay? We said this a bunch of times in the playoffs. There's a bunch of guys in their prime. They're playing well and moving the ball, all that stuff. But, no, they do not have a guy like Wembanyama.
Well, nobody does.
Nobody does. But
nobody ever has.
But Oklahoma City's got the MVP, so they've got a guy.
So he's not the best player.
No, he's not. Last night, Wembanyama made me think back to, I don't know if you thought about
when they gave the Admiral the award?
No, I was thinking about something else. I was thinking about a breakthrough game in the playoffs, and this guy, Magic was a rookie. But when he took over for Kareem in the finals in '80,
okay,
we played, and when he played off, I'm like, okay, this was it was a different type of thing. But I'm thinking, okay, for a young player, his first big playoff appearance. Now, this Magic was a rookie, and Wembanyama has been in the league a couple years. But that's what I thought. I was like, if you can do that as a rookie, and you can go in there and with the highest stakes and do that, then we know that this is a superstar career. Not that we didn't know before, but now you've seen it.
Was the box score impressive?
A little bit.
He does so more than what the box score shows.
The defensive rim protection.
So more.
Yeah.
So much more. I mean, what rule? The $1 million. What rule are they going to change to try and neutralize him?
I don't know what you can because it's the defensive side. You know, when they outlawed the dunk, to neutralize Kareem, that was an offensive thing. This is a defensive thing. And what they did last night, this is what would scare the hell out of me if I'm Oklahoma City. They had Wembanyama play off of Alex Caruso, okay, who drew the assignment. And that meant that Wembanyama was available to alter all these shots in the lane, and a lot of those were SGA. Like they said afterwards, he's in a stance the whole doggone time pretty much. Well, what was the risk of that? You're playing off of Caruso, who's a 37% three-point shooter. Not bad, but not, somebody's going to scare the hell out of you. Well, Caruso made 8 threes last night.
Well, what could you tell he was hot?
He was.
Okay, was he one of the the hotter shooters on the floor for OKC?
He was the hottest.
The hottest, yeah. So,
yeah.
I mean,
and it's
so
we're going to let
adapt.
you do that. We're going to let you do that because we are not going to let SGA just run through the lane. We're going to sag Wembanyama back, and we're going to alter everything he does. And if Caruso keeps hitting threes like that and you beat us that way, God bless. He had 8 threes last night. He had 8 threes in the entire Lakers series. He had 8 threes in the entire first-round series. He can't keep that up. If he does, God bless him. We'll, give him every award there is. He shot that, and you still lost, okay? And it's because they were able to.
Well, if you play that game, Wemby, had 40 and 27 or whatever he had, and OKC's got the ball with a 3-point lead in overtime with less than a minute to go.
And you can
So
play it.
You can play that way. But I know this. I flip-flopped because I just got to say I got to go with the season. I got to take the team. I got to go with what's worked over time. Well, over time we hadn't seen a guy like this. And when De'Aaron Fox was ruled out, it felt really good. Yeah. They were never covering the Joe Burrow stat, the 2019. The opposing team never had the ball in a one-possession game in the fourth quarter. They never had the ball with a chance for a three to be covering at any point in the game.
San Antonio led for 81% of this game.
And what else was tied?
About 9%, I think it was, 9 or 10% where it was tied.
Yeah, so they led for about 5%.
It was the whole way.
Yeah.
Now, the thing about Wembanyama is he only hit 1 3 last night.
It only took 2.
Right. It was a bit. So is what he's doing sustainable? Do I expect 40 and 20, 25 every game? No, 41, 24. But can he shoot 14 for 25 from the floor if he's shooting all but 2 of them from inside the arc? I think he can.
The only thing that's stopping him is an injury.
Yeah. I think he can. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if he's not going to get another 24 boards. Maybe
they were triple teaming him.
I watched it. What do you do with him? I mean,
Caruso. That's not sustainable. They're going to eat that up. He's going to match up with him and stuff like that. That's more of a gadget play. They use it all. That you throw that away. They come back with that if the San Antonio doesn't have a better approach to make them pay for that, then shame on him. Caruso, give him credit. He's
sure.
He's of his ability, and there's no doubt he was the guy that exceeded his level of play, or his expected level of play. He kept him in the game.
Yes.
With loose balls and hitting threes. So the worst was as far as Oklahoma, and there's no room for error when you're playing a guy like this. You're playing at this level. And look, Fox is going to come back in, and he's going to neutralize some of those extended minutes for all those guys as well. But Williams, who was out the last 6.5 games, who is obviously a little rusty with his shot. Mm-hmm. Okay, and part of it is San Antonio's defense is very good. He rushes that shot up 3 with the ball, rushes it, contested, and it was so bad, it didn't even hit the iron. It just banged off the glass. Yeah. Do you know what that turned into? Transition
breakaway,
3. Yeah. The transition 3
and he
for
pulls
Wembanyama. I heard one guy say today, did you ever have a thought? I didn't think he had a chance to make that. I thought it was rushed. I thought he was like, I got to, he's getting back.
I was like, that's the shot you want. Okay.
Yes.
That's the shot you want. You and I both grew up with Ralph Sampson, okay, as the dominant college basketball player of that.
Changed the rule because of him. With the shot clock.
He was 7'4", just like this kid is. If some guy had come from the future and says, hey, you know what, this Sampson guy, he's pretty good, but 40 years from now, we're going to have one that looks like him but can shoot threes. Are you kidding me?
He also,
7'4".
Well, he had the right amount of threes last night. It was only kind of when needed.
Yeah.
And he's capable. He's a 35% shooter right now. That will only improve as he gets deeper into his NBA career. History tells us that 90% of the shooters, that's what happens. But, he's just, we haven't seen it. There's so many things in his agility, but also you can't tell me, and I'll tell you about them announcing, that was such a blow-up. If they had to do it over, they wouldn't do it again. If Oklahoma City had a hand in it. Give him the MVP against the Lakers.
Yeah, last week.
Against the Suns.
Right.
Don't give it to. Did you see Castle come over to him in the presentation?
I heard him in the. I heard him in the.
He was like patting him, like,
yeah, like
it's all right. He showed who's the better player. It wasn't, and it's not just that. What do we want out of our big man? I could see Kareem. Magic screaming at Vlade in like the first game one of the Bulls. Come on! I could see SGA last year. Chet, get up! We need you. You kind of urge those big guys to be tough. You know, he was so aggressive, so physical. So how many times does he take the ball down and let those little guys rep him? How many times do you keep the ball up, you're a big man? Don't let those little guys have a chance. They say, well, he just takes it all in one motion because he's not doing it. His approach and most of it, 95% of his work was down in the paint, where he should be. Yeah. Where he should be. And he played with a purpose last night, and I'm trying to figure it out. The only thing I can remember, going back to my memory bank, was when they gave the Admiral the MVP in the Rocket Series. Yeah, and Akeem played his shorts off. Yeah. He made it very clear who the best player on that floor was for 48 minutes.
Wembanyama's field goal percentage is up in the playoffs. His free throw percentage is up in the playoffs. His rebounds are up in the playoffs. His blocks are up in the playoffs. His assist and turnover numbers are pretty much flat, about the same as is his three-point percentage. Don't we want to see these guys step up in the playoffs? Isn't it a different game? He's done all that.
Yeah.
He's
Are they going to let Chet guard him?
You have to. I mean, what is the deal with that? I mean, you just concede? I mean, the Caruso thing it's gimmick. They went way longer than they should have or should be able to. They can't do that for 5, 6, 7 games. Yeah. That's obvious.
I mean, he did torch Chet in the regular season, but you got to go with that.
So
that's your best option. I mean,
yes. It's the only guy that's got close to that kind of size. There's another story in basketball that we want to talk about here in the beginning of this show, and that is LSU basketball has gotten a commitment from R.J. Luis, who was the 2025 Big East Player of the Year at St. John's. 2025. Okay, so what did he do in 2026? Well, here's been his path. After that season, he entered the transfer portal and the draft. He stayed in the draft past the withdrawal deadline. He then signed a 2-way contract with the Jazz. He got traded to the Celtics for 2 second-round picks and a player. Celtics cut him, signed him to an Exhibit 10 contract, which basically means non-guaranteed, with the G League Maine Celtics. They cut him. He got hurt, and he never played a game last season. He averaged over 18 points a game for St. John's 2 years ago. Obviously, this would be a big add. But is he eligible? Your guess is as good as mine. The NCAA ruled against the NCAA ruled against this when we did this with Bediako at Alabama. 2 months ago, February, March, whenever it was.
Mid-season.
He played for them for 2 years. He went in the draft. He signed a 2-way contract. He played in the G League. By the way, Luis did not play in a game in the G League. He did play in some preseason games for the Celtics. Bediako ended up playing a handful of games. I think it was 5 last year. The judge ruled in the NCAA's favor, and he went out. And the NCAA remains steadfast on that. Will not grant eligibility to any prospective or returning student athletes who have signed an NBA contract, including a 2-way contract, which Luis has. So, Wade wouldn't have taken his commitment, I don't think, if he didn't think that there was some path to getting him eligible. But I'd be lying if I told you I know what it is, because we did this 2 months ago. And the courts ruled and the NCAA ruled, and I kind of thought we were moving past this. I don't know what Wade's got up his sleeve, but if he can get this kid eligible.
Even was vocal on it.
Yeah. And to be honest, listen, if this kid plays for LSU next year, he'll be a major asset. He's a difference maker. He's a I don't know, Jimmy, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, he's a good player.
Game different.
Second-team All-American.
Yeah,
he's a good player.
But do I think he should be eligible? I'm not going to change my stance because it's LSU and not Alabama. No. Once you get this far down the road in professional basketball in the United States, I think your college eligibility should be done. And I say that wanting Will Wade to succeed and wanting LSU to do well, but do I think this kid should be eligible to play college basketball? I don't. I'm sorry. I can't be a hypocrite about this. I came out against Bediako because I didn't think that was right when Alabama did it, and just because it's LSU, I don't think it's right.
When it comes to Will Wade, you once said, Jimmy, that's enough. He's not coming back.
Did I say that?
Repeatedly.
I said you had to let him go. I do remember that when he was at McNeese. I remember saying that.
Yes.
You kinda
And
gotta let
history
go.
tells you. I mean, you reference history. It's never happened.
Right.
Minus one guy that took a 10-year lag at UAB.
Yeah. So we'll see. Like I said, he wouldn't have taken this kid. There's also a rumor out there, maybe a little bit more than a rumor, that a 25-year-old Israeli native named Yam Madar has had contact with LSU. They're trying to get him. He was taken in the 2020 NBA draft.
He better have a good angle because, I mean, if Nate Oates got shut down, I mean, Will Wade's not getting any favors from the NCAA.
No, and they are steadfast.
I mean, I'm sorry.
Well, and they're steadfast against us, as I think that they should be.
But he wouldn't take him if he didn't think there was a
He
path.
must think that there's
no way.
some – right. Why would he waste his time if he thought there was no chance?
Yeah.
So we'll see. We're here at Mike Anderson's.
Yeah, every Tuesday night it is oysters on a half shell or half price, 5 to 9 in the Oyster Bar. My buddy, Mr. Shane, is always holding court over here. Man, he gets the music going. It's always a lot of regulars come on Tuesday, and others. We got plenty of seating at the bar or the tables here in the Oyster Bar area. They're doing a char grill as well, so it's nice to get a dozen, maybe to split raw and then do a dozen char grill. Always fun over here at Mike Anderson's. Of course, college graduation has come and gone this past weekend. Now it's high school graduation. Please, obviously it's a special occasion like that. You're going to call and make a reservation, but we accommodate a lot of graduation parties, bigger groups. Call us up over here at Mike Anderson's and try and arrange for your reservation.
Live at Mike Anderson's. Live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch. Live at lunch. First class.
I want a seat in first class where I was booked and ticketed over a month ago.
Second class.
No man should be subjected to the indignity of being labeled or treated like a second-class citizen.
And no class.
Life had become like school on Sunday. No class. I'll tell you what then. Why don't you call me sometime when you have no class?
First class, second class, and no class. Brought to you by Supreme Rice. Buy local with Louisiana-based Supreme Rice since 1936.
Supreme Rice also brings you our on-demand coverage, 1045ESPN.com and LouisianaSports.net. All right, first class, triple entry. Victor from last night, which we've already talked about. Aaron Rye, the 68-foot putt, the humble after the tournament, the number of putts that he made in general in the back nine, the eagle at 9. He may not be the most famous player, and there were plenty of them on that leaderboard.
There's no asterisk. He didn't get favorable pin placements.
He didn't get
that
anything.
Nobody else did.
He went out and played golf, partner, and he won. And good for him.
A little underrated too. 44th player in the world coming in, so it wasn't like he was a complete no name.
You think he could get into signature events at that?
His
That's
demeanor, where he doesn't get too excited, he doesn't get too rattled either. There was a position where, okay, is this guy going to come unnerved? No sign of it.
No.
He just continued to play better under some tough conditions.
Without a ticket on him, he was easy to root for. He was easy to be happy for. And LSU softball with a really nice pitching performance over the weekend. They only allowed 2 runs in the 3 games and held a very powerful Virginia Tech offense to only 2 runs in 2 games. They got their work cut out for them. They're going to Alabama. They're heavy underdogs in Tuscaloosa, but good for them.
Alabama will choke, Charlie.
In softball, they're pretty good. Second class, this is not good with a chance to be great, but I needed to put this somewhere, and I wanted to ask you because I think this stinks. Nobody's fault. Carlos Alcaraz had to pull out of the French Open, which starts this weekend after an injury in Barcelona.
Yeah.
Today he said he's going to miss Wimbledon too, which stinks. So the center Alcaraz rivalry is going to be on hold through these next 2 majors. I guess to try to get back for the U.S. Open, but that stinks, man.
They're pretty close. Alcaraz became the youngest to complete the career slam. Okay,
Yeah.
and with the Australian Open, but the only one he played in was Monte Carlo, which Sinner did beat him in straight sets in the first of the clay tournament, the clay circuit, but he pulled out after that. And now Sinner, who is minus $3 versus the field to win the French, that will be to complete the career Grand Slam. So it's been young, but without Alcaraz there, it's a little bit of a, it's kind of unfortunate. The tennis needs some of this competition, and what I saw in Monte Carlo, these guys have only separated themselves from the rest of the pack.
Yeah. No class. Brendan Sorsby has filed an injunction against the NCAA seeking that his college eligibility for 2026 be reinstated. Listen, I understand we talk about sports gambling on this show. It's a major part of what we do. But we're also very cognizant of the rules when it comes to college athletes. Jimmy, since we've been covering college sports, has there been any rule from the beginning of when we started covering college sports to right now that has been more ironclad than you cannot gamble on your own team and you cannot gamble on your own sport? Okay? Look, it used to be you can't sign with an agent. You can sign with an agent now. You can't take money. You can take money now. The drugs policies have come and gone, in all different things. This is ironclad. They have never wavered from this. It is posted in every locker room. Every coach brings them. They bring them in at the beginning of every season, and they make it in no uncertain terms that you cannot do this. Okay, and so Sorsby thing is twofold. Number one, it's deeply hypocritical of the NCAA to take gambling money for advertising purposes and yet not allow the kids to gamble. I don't care. Maybe it is, but this is the rule, and it's in there to protect the integrity of the sport. It's important, okay? We can gamble all day. The fans, that's fine. The players can't. You just can't. Every sport has got this same rule. It's not like it's some obscure ruling somewhere. And then he says, well, and then Texas Tech ruled him ineligible yesterday. They're going to file the appeal immediately. But he says there will be irreparable harm done to him because of his pro prospects. I agree. That's why they told you can't do this. This
doesn't need a whole lot of failure.
There's nothing anymore that you can say about this.
The only thing is, Charlie, why not take a shot? I mean, what's it cost him? What's it cost him?
I get why they're doing it.
Has the NCAA not have a record to take a shot? But I just do not see. I don't see any path where this kid is going to play college athletics again.
And
I just don't see it.
And honestly, shouldn't.
No, we shouldn't.
Honestly, shouldn't.
Charlie,
and I'd say the same thing if he was at LSU.
The only thing I could add is I've been in that locker room before, and this is way before. This is 30, 40 years ago when. And there's posters everywhere. It's over. They are. This is way before it's mainstream as it is now.
Yeah.
Way before. So how much more are they stressing? You can't do it. You will lose your eligibility. I want to know if he loses how much of his NIL deal. I mean, that's what I want to know.
Well, I'm pretty sure.
You pay it all up front? You pay it in installments? I mean, does he get here? Does he have to forfeit some back? I mean, that's what I want to know.
I'm pretty sure that Texas Tech's number is going to be 0. Now, if they gave it to him, good luck getting it back. But they declared him ineligible for competition yesterday. I mean, they issued a statement. So they're going to appeal for him, but they're doing their due diligence and saying, hey, you know what? You're ineligible per NCAA rules. And if we appeal and you get it, great. But if not, that's just tough. Now, I did listen to Adam Schefter and Tim Hasselbeck this morning talking about, I want your opinion on this because you've seen him play a lot, that if this doesn't fly and he has to put himself in the supplemental draft in July, they both think he would be taken. What do you think of him as a pro prospect?
It got a lot of potential. He's a dual threat. I mean, he wants to run a little bit, but his passing numbers really did improve this year. His yards per attempt, his touchdown interception ratio really took an inch.
That was a big pop.
It would have only improved with more reps. This is this is a monkey wrench in the development part of it as well. But, so more of a, but he, late first round, mid first round, even early second round.
Hasselbeck says that he thinks his ceiling is the third round. That felt low to me. He thought that it was more likely that he would be a fourth through seventh round selection. Somebody would take a flyer on him. I think he's a little bit better than that. I wouldn't say necessarily a slam dunk first round pick, but I could easily see somebody taking him with a second round pick. A quarterback needy team, the Jets jump right to mind. Bring him in, see what he's got, and if he stinks, well, you still got your first round pick next year. I don't know that I'd take him in the first, because those quarterback needy teams are likely to be bad again next year. Arizona, Cleveland, New York.
Well, the other thing is if you're in the supplemental draft, if you're the Steelers, you're trying to win this year, right? But you're probably going to need a quarterback by the end of the year. So wouldn't you spend a first round supplemental draft just to make sure you've got a quarterback?
That's an interesting point. The Steelers are way different than the Cardinals, Jets, and Browns.
They're probably going to pick 21st, right? So they're not going to get any of the top quarterbacks unless they just completely tank the season, which they never do. The Steelers always
be 8-9 or 9-8.
Yeah. So how are they ever going to get a top quarterback? Why wouldn't they use their pick on a supplemental and maybe get a steal here?
Yeah, and they've already tried that with Alar. Okay. Whether you think he's got a shot or not, they took used a draft choice on him.
They did,
and you can bring this kid in too. I think he goes. If he's in the supplemental draft, I would set his over under at the middle of the second round, but that's just a guess.
And I would go under.
I was surprised to hear Hasselbeck say that his ceiling was that low. That's one man's opinion.
Yep,
it's one man's opinion.
I heard one team's opinion and take Simpson.
Correct. We didn't think he was going that high, but the Rams did. So
I'd heard first round conditional or supplemental. I'd heard first round.
It would be a gamble if you are one of those bad teams, but I agree with you on the Steelers. First class, second class, no class. Brought to you by Supreme Rice. It's Memorial Day weekend. What you cooking up this weekend?
It's grilling season.
Grilling season, and you can make a little Supreme Rice. You make a little jambalaya, a little etouffee, a little something with rice. Make it with Supreme Rice. Support our Louisiana farmers. The Climate Smart program down in Southwest Louisiana since the 1930s, celebrating 90 years in business here in 2026. The jasmine, the long grain, the medium grain, the brown, the parboiled rice, which is Jimmy's favorite, the low-glow, low-glycemic rice, perfect for diabetics. Pick it up wherever you get rice. Get a great price on it at Walmart, at Rouse's, all of your AG food stores. Supreme Rice. For more information and great recipes, go to supremerice.com. We are here at Mike Anderson's Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch with Ott and Yanni from Mike Anderson Seafood on Lee Drive on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Heading out to Las Vegas, deep in the desert, lives one man. One man of many sports bets. The one and only Andy Isco.
And we return here at Mike Anderson's Wesley at Nicholson. Andy Isco joins us from Las Vegas. Andy, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good morning to the folks out here, and hope everything's going well as we're getting to the really good part of the NBA and NHL playoffs.
Oh, that's obviously where we start, Andy. What do you think? What's your thoughts of last night's double overtime thriller?
Wasn't all that surprised. I mean, look at how they did in the regular season. I believe San Antonio won, 4 out of 5 or 5 out of 6 against the Thunder. I thought it was a big line, but I wasn't quite sure how OKC would respond after so much time off. So I sort of passed on that one, and now I've got to decide what I want to do in Game 2. The old zigzag, the old home team losing at home in the first game is a strong play in Game 2. But when you have so much success against a single opponent in the regular season, it's clear that San Antonio was able to exploit some of the vulnerabilities of OKC. I'm not going to say they're the much better team, but if you take a look, I think before last night, the last 6 meetings between these teams were decided by double digits, and San Antonio, I think, won 4 out of those 5. So maybe it's just that San Antonio, and remember, early in the season, San Antonio was a relatively inexperienced team going up against the defending champions, and yet they had all that success. I believe they hadn't met in several months before last night, but clearly San Antonio has shown all season that they can play against OKC. OKC doesn't care how much they win by in Game 2. They just want to win. I wouldn't be surprised if San Antonio makes another game out of this. They're playing with great confidence. And you could argue, with all due respect to SGA, maybe Wemby's the best player on the court.
Oh, there's no argument there. I think it's, but Wemby had never played a playoff game, and I'm a believer in, for instance, like Jokic, when he led his team to the championship and he carried them. I mean, he showed that he was the best player to play. The playoffs are a completely different sport. I mean, you watch the intensity and defense last night that was played in that game in a hustle, and you just turn on a random regular game. I mean, you'd like it's almost like putting a needle on a record. I mean, slowing it down so much. I mean, it's just completely different stuff. And I understand 82 games of travel, you got to coast a little bit. Okay, but I mean. Wembanyama, I mean, I have no problem with SGA getting the award for this season, because I think you should be rewarded for when a player shows that you can carry a team to a championship, a little bit of a carryover effect. I think that should matter. But Wembanyama, I don't think there's any. You watch over the course of the season this year, he impacts the game. He does so much more than the box score indicates, Andy. And I mean, just so much. I mean, you can't attack the rim. They just detour when they see him in the paint.
Not only that, he's got a great touch from anywhere on the court. Is he a modern day Magic Johnson, carrying the ball up the court and everything? I mean, he's doing so many different things, and he's got such a great future ahead of him. And I think the league is better off for having a guy like that. As a lot of the older guys like LeBron, etc., reach the end of their careers, Wemby's going to be the face of the NBA for the next decade and a half.
So what is it? So SGA thinks he can have a better night, okay? The supporting cast minus Caruso, have a better shooting night, because it seems like OKC's going to have to make them pay from the perimeter. I mean, it's just going to be tough to attack in the paint. I was confused on San Antonio's defensive alignment at the end of regulation with 10 seconds to go, how they just pulled Wembanyama, to guard Chet, on 3-point range. I mean, make him knock that down. I mean, how many does he have? Don't give up a layup and remove yourself. I mean, you saw what SGA did. I mean, he went right to the goal, blew by the defender for an easy layup. So I just want to know is Wembanyama going to sustain this type of shooting performance? Is he going to hit a big three at it? I mean, I don't know what is sustainable with Caruso. He's not going to bring that every night. That's not likely. With Wembanyama having a historic night, man, so Oklahoma City's got the ball up 3 with less than a minute to go in the first overtime.
Oh yeah. Well, look, I mean, these teams are. That's why I say the surprising thing is the results in the regular season, where San Antonio was able to win by comfortable margins. But you're looking at arguably the number 1 and number 2 teams in the league. And I don't know who we want to say is number 3. Maybe you can give it to the Knicks, certainly the way that they're playing now. But clearly, you're going to see the finals. Well, let's see what happens here, because if San Antonio, ends up making to the finals, maybe they do become a nice favorite over the Knicks. I'm not quite sure, assuming the Knicks make it past Cleveland, but that we'll talk about that one in a moment. But as far as San Antonio and OKC goes, these are two outstanding teams. I think overall the talent on OKC may be a little bit better overall if you compare man-to-man, roster to roster, but I would not be. I gave San Antonio a better chance, I think, at extending this series than a lot of people did, although I still think OKC wins.
Max, what's the updated odds in the series? Have you seen?
Let's see. We are looking at, and I'm looking in the wrong series. I'm looking at the Eastern Conference.
Okay, all right.
We are looking at -110, both sides. Straight pick 'em. Thunder, Spurs.
I think OKC's in trouble. You?
I think so. I mean, they struggled all season.
Wemby's presence, Wemby altering, Wemby affecting how you completely. You got to alter how you run your offense. That's not going anywhere.
I don't want to overthink it. They're now 5-1 on the season against the Thunder, the best team in the league, supposedly the defending champions, and the Spurs have the matchup, and they won what felt like a decisive game one. I know that's never the case, but that felt like a very, very big game last night.
Well, they led or tied for 95% of the game. I mean, yeah, they were in control a lot of, and you did see they missed Fox down the stretch. When it went, especially down the stretch, tight games, half-court possessions, they turned the ball over a lot. And he is going to minimize that when he's back. That was a very late scratch last night. Did Wembanyama have a little extra in the tank? Is he going to have that extra in the tank because he was upset watching him get the MVP? Because Fox, he's telling him after, I told you so, I'll be able to cover you, cover for you not being there. I don't know if he's going to have that killer instinct like we saw, because I didn't see that during the regular season. I can tell you that. That was a determined son of a gun last night. We've seen his impact on some games, but man, he didn't mess around like that game one of the Portland series where he hung out there and went 0 for 7 from three-point range. That wasn't happening. He wasn't settling for threes last night. He pulled it when he absolutely had to. Andy?
Yeah, I was going to say that these are two. I expect this series to go 6 or 7 games. San Antonio, and again, they hadn't met for a long time prior to last night. But San Antonio clearly showed that there was an improved team at the start of the season, and they carried that, all the way through. What is it? One of them won, 62 wins for San Antonio, 64 for OKC, and you consider that of the 18 losses that Oklahoma City had in the regular season, almost a quarter of them were to San Antonio. So there's a lot of reasons to like San Antonio. I think ultimately it comes down to OKC and that intangible that champions sometimes have. Would I be shocked if San Antonio beats OKC? No, because they clearly show they can play with them. But when you just mentioned before, Wemby and his ability to come up and show a great deal of intensity in the playoffs, regular seasons you're just playing to make the playoffs. And when you're that good, you don't really care where you're seated. Yeah, you want to be seated number one, and of course OKC is. But clearly there's not that much difference between these two teams.
Max, I understand you referenced in the regular season, and I acknowledge that. And I talked about that last night, but I wanted to see it in the postseason, and that matchup is still a major problem in the postseason as well. That was an electric crowd. They were fired up. I mean, and the line is still the same. They're anticipating a zigzag handle. They're expecting some people, the higher seed that loses game one, to bounce back and cover in game two. You add De'Aaron Fox to this whole thing. I know who I'll be on. I'll be taking the Spurs because the Thunder is not the strongest team in this matchup. At least that's what I saw last night. What about tonight? The Knicks. Let's go to the JV side of the bracket. And the Knicks 6.5 over the Cavaliers. Rust versus rest, Andy.
Yeah, and that's a major concern because we're talking about a week and a half almost. What they play last Sunday, I think it was, against Philly, and now they are playing 8-9 days later. I think the Knicks are the better team. I mean, I was concerned the way Cleveland played a lot of the way in the series against Detroit. I thought Cleveland did have the best roster, but they struggled at times. Obviously, that last game against Detroit, they had that win previously that they were able to pull off earlier in the series on the road after they hadn't been able to win a road game all playoffs. Said a lot about Cleveland, but I don't know if I can do anything before this game. I might want to watch this first quarter. I want to see if the Knicks are rusty. If the Knicks are not rusty in the first quarter, maybe I get involved at the end of the first quarter or some point in the second quarter if the line is relatively close to where they are. In other words, if it's a competitive game, I don't need the Knicks to get out to a 7 or 10 point lead for them to show me that they're not rusty. I just don't want them to fall behind, 17-6 or something, which would be an indication of a little bit of rust, and maybe that would lead me towards looking under. The Knicks have been playing great. They've won 7 in a row. I think going back to the end of the regular season, they're something like 13-3, and they've covered all but 3 of the games in that stretch. The 2 against Atlanta, and there were a couple more that they didn't cover in that before the
7-3, 7-3 in the postseason.
Yeah.
ATS.
Yeah, the 2 games against Atlanta, games 2 and 3, and then one of the games against Philly when they won, and obviously won it, but didn't cover. So it's a series. I think the Knicks win this in. Wouldn't be shocked if they win it in 5, but I'll say they win it in 6, meaning they would have to win it, or they would win it in Cleveland. I just think they're the better team. They made that adjustment to basically make the offense go through Cat. Oganobi is having a fine series, when he's fully healthy, as we've seen most of the playoffs. I think the Knicks are the better team. I'll be intrigued either way, and not that it means anything that the Knicks beat San Antonio for that banner that Dolan doesn't want to raise in that midseason tournament. Which again, go back, that's 5 months ago, 6 months ago, back in December. But I like a matchup of the Knicks against either OKC or San Antonio, and I think that becomes a very good series, assuming the Knicks don't have to go 7 games against Cleveland.
Oh, boy, I think they're in a lot of trouble when they play the San Antonio team. I think the San Antonio team looks very, very tough. Follow Andy on Twitter at VegasAndy711. He's with us every Tuesday and also throughout the football season on Football Sunday. Good luck to you, Andy. Thank you, buddy.
Thanks, guys. Have a great rest of the week.
Don't forget our friends at K&M Automotive, 8445 Segan Lane, just off of Perkins. It's the only place I take my vehicle. Jason Payne going to give you an honest deal. You've heard this horror stories for getting unnecessary work, upcharging you for it, and just getting rung up way more than you should for some basic services. AC repair, tires, oil changes. I mean, you name it, whatever it is, transmission work, that engine light comes on, bring it in, we will take care of it. It's the only place I take my vehicle, K&M Automotive, 8445 Segan, just off of Perkins. Take a time out, come back and wrap things up live at Mike Anderson's Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch with Ott and Yanni from Mike Anderson Seafood on Lee Drive on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, round winding down hour number 1. Let's give you a scoreboard update from conference tournament. One final is in from Charles Schwab Field in Omaha, Nebraska, site of the Big Ten tournament. Michigan State builds an 8-0 lead, had an 8-0 lead early in the 3rd inning. I think it was the 2nd inning. They hold on to win 8-4. Tying run was on deck for Purdue. Flags are blowing out of Charles Schwab Field. The over-under depends on where you shop. Over 10.5 hits, under 12.5 hits. So
it was 7-0 in 2 innings.
7-0 in 2 innings
for Sparty. They scored again in the 4th.
Michigan State, the 12 seed, beats the 5 seed. In Purdue.
Double elimination format there in the Big Ten. They stick to double elimination. Not all the way through, but it's 5 through 12, so they get 12 Big Ten teams get in the tournament.
Keep in mind, Nebraska won it last year as an 8 seed. They're a 2 seed. They're much better than they were last year, so they'll get a double bye till Friday. The Husker fans will start to pour in downtown Omaha because this first game, I think the over-under on the crowd was about 12. It was a light crowd. Duke all over North Carolina State. This in Charlotte in the ACC tournament. NC State, one of those bubble teams, 17-9. Duke in the top of the 9th inning. And at the Hoover Met, the SEC, bottom 6, Ole Miss coming to bat, down 8-6 against Missouri.
Ole Miss first ever ABS challenge ever issued. They lost it in Hoover.
There we go. We'll take a time out. We'll come back after this with hour number 2, live at lunch, live from Mike Anderson's 104.5.
Lunch with Ott and Yanni from Mike Anderson Seafood on Lee Drive on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Charlie's headset level.
I don't know how he hears anymore.
I thought he just didn't pay attention to me.
Well,
but he doesn't hear me.
Yeah, that's what I tell everybody when I don't.
It's a combination of the two.
First, I couldn't hear you. Maybe I wasn't paying attention, but either way.
8-6, bottom of the 6, Ole Miss batting down 8-6. The 9 seed Rebels against the 16 seed Missouri Tigers. There's a shot, so that should be 2-out double. Lot of ground at the Hoover Met. This one is going to fly over. Remember, 13-2 to the under last year at the SEC tournament. That won't be the case. It'll be
ACC, SEC both flying over so far, and we had one go over in the Big Ten as well. So
depending on where you shop.
Okay.
Yeah.
That
was. I saw 10.5, 12, 12.5. I saw all over the place. 11. So it was a little bit. It is noteworthy though the way Michigan State was playing. I saw about 5 balls hit to the outfield. The Michigan State outfielders were running back every time. They were playing like the wind was blowing in or there was no wind at all. And the wind is blowing out. But it's a big one ball is hit over the center field for Michigan State's head. He sprints back, it bounces over his head, he bare hands it before it even gets to the warning track. He's got all that room. I mean, this is where this thing plays. I know
it's a shame.
I wish they would move him in a little bit. I'll let this thing.
And they could move him in, right? Because you got a bullpen in like left field and right field, so it's not like there's like seats there that would be a real expense to move the fence.
No. It's. I know initially it was a big financial commitment to construct the new stadium downtown. I get that, but now it's time to. It's making the play a little bit more fair. Now, when the wind's blowing out, yes, you do have like what you had in that game 2 of that Florida LSU championship series, and where Florida won like 20-8 or something like that.
It can blow out, but the primary wind, they know what it is. It blows out of the southeast, and so honestly, Charlie or Jimmy, I've seen a lot of these ballparks. I've gotten to get familiarized with a lot of them. Most of them are set up to where the primary wind that they get during the spring blows out to left field or center field. That's the way most of them are built. Now, you have to understand that sun plays a part in how the ballparks always align. You can't have the sun set right behind the batter's eye or anything.
Right.
But generally, most ballparks, with some exceptions, play to where the wind would take the ball out, not in. And so Charles Schwab is the opposite of that.
All right, Vandy and Kentucky are on deck. Vanderbilt is a slight favorite in that one. That one's scheduled to start around 1. That is not going to start anywhere close to 1. So what that means is we're talking about a 9, 1, 4:30, 8 o'clock quadruple header. What's the over-under? 9:38 for LSU to start. It's up 10 o'clock.
Yeah, there's a few gaps, I think, built in, right? Or are we just spacing out?
3.5
3.5 all the way.
No.
Yeah, it might start late. We're used to having some late nights at Hoover. I don't think it's quite the same since they switched to single elimination, but yeah, we'll see if they start on time.
I can't remember whenever that it's more pitching changes, it's more maneuvers, it's more time. Listen, the greatest thing about college baseball, that pitching clock, it has sped it up. Now the next move they have to do. Now they experiment with the, like you said, Ole Miss had that ABS, that automatic ball strike appeal. Did Ole Miss win it?
They lost.
They lost,
but they did have a graphic posted on Twitter, which I did appreciate. They said they were the first college baseball team ever to challenge using ABS. They lost it. They didn't put that in that tweet, but nevertheless, it makes the strike zone bigger too. I think we're starting to learn that in the MLB, right? You've got, if it clips the zone, it's a strike, and typically those have not been called over the years, and I'd expect that to be especially the case in college, where they definitely don't call it if it clips the black of the plate. But I'm curious to see if we see some catchers use ABS a little bit more often, trying to get some strike threes and things like that.
It is so much like the tennis replay, and as they show that tennis, if it barely clips the line, I mean, the ball is 95. There's an old saying, because you got to call your own lines in recreational tennis. 99% out is 100% in. So and you see that, you do see that pitch was. I think you're exactly right. That's the pitch where a lot more times than not it was called.
The human eye doesn't see that.
Right.
You just see that as just off the plate. There was actually a funny moment last night, and that's what OBS gives. I think it's an addition to the in-stadium, environment, the attraction, the entertainment there. Last night, Salvador Perez correctly challenged 2 consecutive ball calls into strikes. The third one missed by a lot. And the home plate umpire, Laz Diaz, had a good sense of humor about it. Looked over at Salvador Perez like, you're going to challenge that one? Come on now. Come on.
It has shown up some umpires, and it has shown shown some umpires off. I mean, some umpires look better through it, and some don't look so good after it. When they talk about all the show, no, it's both. So the better umpires are getting shown how good they are, and the other umpires know they need to improve. I mean, what's wrong with that? I mean, so
yeah, but I guess if you're Angel Hernandez, you can sue the league.
But the biggest thing, it is quick. It is quick, and the pace of the game, and that's the next thing that the college game needs to carry over from. And we'll see about the ABS, because not everybody has the same SEC quality production of their games, so that might be a little bit tricky. You may see it in the postseason, because the postseason games all have ample production groups where they will have that box and they'll have that graphic and things like that. We'll see if they go to that. I don't know if you want to play a lot of regular season games and not have it when you go to the postseason, but all the conference games, like in the bigger conferences. But watching some of these games online, man, the production quality is, it's a little rough. The one thing, they got to limit the throws over, though. They got to do that as well. It doesn't happen often, but, man, when you get a guy who just wants to sit there and just throw over and throw over and throw over, and it does have an effect. If you're going to throw it over 3 straight times, that runner is not as likely to run. He's going to be paused a little bit on his aggression if you keep throwing over there 3 or 4 times in between pitches.
You mentioned the production value, and certainly in college baseball, most programs are not making money, so they don't want to put in any more investment into an ABS system. But we've seen the SEC lead the way in terms of replay when it first got instituted, when college baseball didn't have replay like they do now. The bigger leagues will do it, and the other leagues can follow if they see fit, or if they have the technology, the money, the resources to do it. But I would think we might just see it in the power levels if we ever do see it. And the SEC's trying it out this year in Hoover.
I'll give the Major League Baseball umpires a lot of credit on. They don't pause. They don't question. Really, you're going to review. They just go right to it. They don't show a whole lot of emotion. Call is overturned, whether it's on the bases, whether it's the ABS, ball strikes, whatever it is. I think they have been real professional. Like this, no. I told you so. No, aggravated if he gets it wrong. I mean,
of course,
move on.
There have been a couple mistakes where a couple players didn't actually tap their helmet. Was close to tapping their helmet.
I didn't see that.
This happened. I forget which team it was. I think it was the Mets. I think it was Carlos Mendoza went out to argue it. But basically, the player just moved his hand up like he normally does. He grabs kind of the shield near his helmet, and he was like, no, I don't want to challenge it. And they went with it anyway. So he challenged a ball that he didn't want to be challenged.
That is a vast exception.
And look, it's the first year of it. So there's going to be some growing pains, I'm sure.
So William Schmidt is going to toe the rubber tonight on the bump tonight at the Hoover Met. I don't know. It's scheduled for 8. There's no way they're going to start that game at 8 o'clock. This game is moving right along, top 7. So they got 3 full innings to go, with Ole Miss being the home team down 8-6, and they're at 3 hours and 10 minutes. Already. So
Oklahoma with Gavin Jones. That means it's going to be a bullpen game for Oklahoma this year. He's only started 1 time this year. He averages about 1 inning an appearance, 6.20 ERA, 1.67 WHIP. So you can get to him. He has, strikeout ratio 13 strikeouts to 19 walks. So might get a free pass or 2 in the first inning, but it'll be a bullpen game for Oklahoma. So I'd expect to see. You're going to need the bats to get going in Hoover tonight. I think the way Schmidt, pitches, to miss contact, can't walk. The free passes are going to be a problem in this game for either team. So let's hope LSU doesn't walk everybody like they've tended to do at times this year. But that's going to be important this week, or tonight especially, with a bullpen game for Oklahoma.
Skip Johnson is trying to shake things up. He's got the Mercurials brothers. One finished his sophomore year before he transferred from UNLV, and one has come straight from Las Vegas, homegrown kids from the Las Vegas area, 2 brothers that came to Norman, Oklahoma. So we expect to see one of those guys in relief.
Yeah, we could see LJ who did not pitch, as I understand it, last weekend in the last weekend regular season series for Oklahoma. So felt like they were saving him for early in Hoover. Oklahoma, where they are positioned, they don't really have a ton to play for early in this, do they? I mean, they're not on the bubble, so they're okay there. I don't think they're really hosting at this point. Although, let's see, where are they in the RPI? They are 20th. So I guess if they win 3 or 4 games, they might have a case. They were 14 and 15 in SEC play, so it seems like a stretch. So to me, it's a little surprising that they would save him rather than maybe use him, although they are waiting down the line. You're trying to plan for the regional as well, so you want to use him. You want to use your best starters, your top-end starters, Wednesday or Thursday to give them that extra day for the regionals next week. So that's a big part of this as well.
What is NC State's RPI? I mean, where are they projected in the latest D1 projections? Because they didn't have a ton of room to play with, and they are getting it handed to them right now.
Yeah, they're 42, and they were 14 and 16 in ACC play, so they'll now be 14 and 17 if you count the conference tournaments, which it is a conference game, so I think that's fair. They are very much, I think, I would concern about them. I don't know where they stand on the bubble. I'll look that up during the break.
They were a $3 favorite today over Duke, and they are down 21-9 in the bottom of the 9th inning. So NC State, a damaging loss to the last place team in the ACC. Duke, who's had very good seasons the last couple of years, lost their head coach. He went to Charlottesville, Virginia to replace Brian O'Connor, who took the job over at Mississippi State.
Baseball America had NC State as last 4 in.
That's a damaging.
So that could do it for them. That could be a coffin blow for them.
That's going to be a tough one. Don't forget our friends over at Relief Windows. Relief Windows, if your homeowners association requires wood windows like mine, and you got to use those wood windows, but listen, they're expensive. You don't want to be replacing them every 5, 6, 7 years. The R-Last wood by Geldwin, unlike your average wood, when it's treated on just the surface, it's treated straight through the core, offering unparalleled protection against rot, water saturation, termites. These wood frame windows are built to last, and I am more than pleased with mine that I got from Relief Windows. The first set that weren't like this, they rotted, needed to be replaced. They're not cheap. You don't only want to do this one time. So do it right and call our friends at Relief Windows at 288-8138. 288-8138 or reliefwindows.com. For windows, doors, siding, shutters, and shades is 288-8138 and reliefwindows.com. Look back again at last night's epic Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals. I know we've seen times in the past where we thought this semifinal was to decide it all. I haven't seen anything in the East as good as the Knicks have played, even against inferior competition, pretty weak competition to this point. I just don't know how you're going to face the winner of the San Antonio-Oklahoma City series. Max and I'll break it down continuously when we return. Don't forget Max Simonera, a veteran handicapper out of the New York area. He has been hot. Another winning week for Ace. He's got some picks for tonight's Knicks-Cavaliers game and some Major League Baseball as well. Live at lunch, live at Mike Anderson's, where it's half off raw oysters every Tuesday night, tonight and every Tuesday night from 5 to 9 p.m. here in the Oyster Bar area. Live at lunch, live at Mike Anderson's at 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Yanni from Mike Anderson Seafood on Lee Drive on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, so the Spurs in an unbelievable performance by Victor Wembanyama last night. You know, Puerto Rico, when he's calling the 30-footer to tie it at the end of overtime. I mean, Reggie Miller runs all over him on his call. So, but I mean, you talk about silence the crowd. Crowd was probably they were into it. I mean, it's a great crowd. It was the biggest lead at that point for Oklahoma City. They got another turnover, and this is where they felt the absence of De'Aaron Fox. A lot of a lot of turnovers down the stretch in these sort of half-court situations. He's expected to play. We'll see for sure. He was expected to play. He was very late scratch last night. But and Wembanyama, after a really poor decision by Williams, who had missed the last 6.5 games, who clearly was off for this game. He was pulling on his hamstrings a little bit at one stretch as well. They thought he might come out, but his shot was clearly off. He had some rust, understandably so. But to just force a shot, to rush a shot up 3, it was such a bad shot. It didn't even draw iron. It just banked off the glass. I mean, a complete brick. Led to transition where Wemby gave it up, then he got it back, and then he pulls it from 30 and knocks it down to tie the game. Only his second three-point attempt of the night, and he made it. And this was because if you looked at that first Portland game, that's one way he beat yourself. We want you shooting three-pointers. I mean, we want you, shooting 7 of them like you did against Portland. We got much better chance of stopping a possession with you shooting perimeters. When you're 35, then that's fine. You're capable, but you're way more effective down in the paint. He doesn't even have to jump to dunk. I mean, he doesn't bring the ball down. He's aggressive. He is. I'm telling you, the $1 million question is, how will the NBA adjust any type of rules to try and neutralize his impact? Because as he stays healthy, which is hard to do for big guys, there's no comp. I mean, one guy brings up Magic Johnson, they bring up this guy, and they bring up that guy, and Ralph Sampson. There's no comp. There's zero comp to this guy, and he impacts the game in so many ways. I think that Oklahoma City is in for a rough series. I think this thing might go 5, maybe 6, but I think if you're asking me right now, mid-series, I'm all over San Antonio at a pick. Overreaction, Max?
I don't think so, because that's what I thought coming into the series. I thought the Spurs were a value in this series just because of the matchup. And look, I get.
What was the number before the series?
4-1 in the regular season.
No, I got that. The series price.
It was It was minus 265 plus 215 somewhere in there. Yeah. So that was the gap. It was the same for both series actually. It was the Spurs were plus 215 and the Cavs were plus 215 against the Knicks. And to me, I give the Spurs a better chance, but I also give the Cavs quite a chance in their series that starts tonight. But the Spurs, it's matchup, and they tried to guard Wembanyama with Chet earlier in the season, and it failed. But that's still your best avenue. I think you have to see more of Isaiah Hartenstein. That's their backup center. He's a bigger guy. He can manage
started last night.
A little bit more of the physicality.
He was just starting lineup.
But he's got to be in the game more. And we saw this actually in one of the series last year. I want to say it was the Western Conference Finals when the Thunder played in that series, that Hartenstein played more in that game.
He only played 12 minutes. You're right. He started and only played 12 minutes.
I just didn't see him that much. And he played a lot more in the series in the Western Conference Finals last year than he ultimately did in the finals because it wasn't as good of a matchup for him. But Hartenstein's a matchup player. He's in there for certain defensive, assignments.
No, he's a 7-foot. No, he and Holmgren are credited for their being one of the strengths of this defensive unit. Of being rim protected. Now this is a different animal trying to defend Wembanyama, but Alex Caruso with him, that shouldn't happen anymore. Hartenstein's got to use his 6 fouls and just get in there and bang because he is a banger. No, he's going to have a hard time facing him, but I mean to have 3 guys on him at one time, a lot of times. I mean that was at the end of regulation when they had 3 seconds to go and they lobbed it to him. There were 3 guys on him. 2 of them got a piece of the ball, and then Chet was actually on him and deflected the ball on that one.
Yeah, smart by Mark Dagnall. Putting the big guy up on the inbounder because that made that much more challenging as well. I thought it was a well-coached game, other than the fact that I just thought Wembanyama probably doesn't need to have Caruso on him all game. Maybe we need to make some adjustments there. But Hartenstein does struggle in the pick and roll. And the thing about the Spurs is, as good as Wembanyama is in the more obvious ways, scoring around the basket, he's so good in other ways, right? He sets up everything. You mentioned that earlier, in the first segment. But he can set so much up. And the Spurs PR guy, actually, I want to give him credit, Jordan Howenstein, he mentioned this stat. They were the youngest starting lineup in all time in the history of the conference finals. So they're young. They obviously they're pretty quick with the guys they had. I know Castle had 11 turnovers, 11 assists, but ultimately, what's crazy about this series is probably going to be something that we see a lot more going forward in the Western Conference. And how long has it been since the Eastern Conference was on the level playing field of the West? It's been quite some time at this point.
Boston, a couple of years there, they won one and then they lost in 6.
But just the overall
Golden
depth.
State. They were well. No.
The West has always been better, but now
I'm
it's
mentioning one team. Yeah.
Just imagine now you have Spurs and the Thunder, and they are arguably going to be the two best teams going forward. Because as young as the Spurs are, we know the Thunder are stacked. They've got the draft picks, all the capital there. But Wembanyama is not going to get any worse. They're going to make sure to re-sign him.
Harper's a big hit.
They hit on him.
But how did he look phased in any way? And this is what I was impressed with. I'm not watching the regular season, but the postseason, he does not look like a rookie. I mean, he was thrown in there last minute with the starting role with De'Aaron Fox out and did great. I mean, he is. And I always thought it was just his left-handed, him being left-handed, why they just don't seem to get him. He seems to be able to finish so many times where so many guys get their ball rejected. But he switched one time to the offhand, to the right hand, to finish one time. So he's just really good at it. And I also like where he got hit. One guy hit him across, I think it was Caruso, hit him across the head. He finishes it. And then what was ruled a natural move by Gilgeous-Alexander, where he swiped to try and swat the ball, and it came with the other move like he's in a swimming pool. That's a natural move. This guy can handle the ball all over the court, and he's going to natural move and slap the guy in the head when he's down on the ground.
I didn't think it was a flagrant, but,
Take intent out of it. It's not natural, okay? When you try and guess intent, you get in trouble. Yeah. And that's what they're trying to do there. Well, but no, he hit him after the play's over with his hand. Max, this guy could do all kinds of things with his hands. He's very capable of avoiding hitting him in the face that much after the play. That was intentional. Okay, that's my opinion. Yeah. We take intent out of it. Natural move in the swimming pool, not on the basketball
court.
They're
probably going to have to try to rough Wembanyama up more in this series. I mean, as great as he was,
they roughed up the rookie.
You got to shorten things up a little bit. You saw him get ejected in the last series against Minnesota. Like, they got to try to do something like that to get under his skin and affect him, because the way they're doing it now is just they're not going to win the series.
Well, if you took a Rookie of the Year poll in the postseason, I mean, it's hands down. It's Dylan Harper. I mean, Flagg didn't play, and Knipple was a bust. I mean, say what you want, but he is, tell me a better rookie in the postseason. And he's done it consistently. It was not just last night where he's thrown into the starting role. The other thing, so he's the future is bright for him, okay? Castle was the Rookie of the Year 2 years ago. All right? I mean, Keldon Johnson's the sixth man of the year this year. I mean, they got some other pieces, so they have really hit on a lot of guys. Now, listen, everything. Did you notice when they took Wembanyama out last night? Because how were they going to stretch his minutes? His minutes for the regular season was very strict. I mean, it was like a Paul Skeens rookie pitch count. I mean, it was 29 minutes, 29-30 a game, just over 29 and change. How would they increase it? For the 48 minutes of regulation, they bumped it up 9 minutes. He played 38. And that way he was able to maintain that intensity of going back and forth, because they still leaning on him and they're banging him and stuff. So that was a big deal. But when he came out, Oklahoma City is just really attacking the rim, trying to push the ball with him being out. I said, what is the plus minus for this thing? Because they're catching up with him. They had these little spurts when Wembanyama was out of the game. There's a plus 16. Sometimes those plus minuses can be misleading. But in a double overtime game, to have a plus 16, Wembanyama, the coach, Dave Point, whatever his name is, Dagno, he went deep into his roster, and he was trying to get into the legs of San Antonio. Some people feel that maybe he went a little too deep, and maybe this isn't because San Antonio sure didn't. I mean, their starters all played at least 44 minutes.
I mean, SGA played 51 minutes. I mean, Chet played 41. So, like, your main core guys, part of the strength of the Thunder is their depth. You know, that's kind of part of their roster. That's how they've gotten where they are.
But was all of those guys performing at that level where they needed to stay in there?
No, but I mean, it's kind of hard to tell how well Jared McCain's playing when he's playing 18 minutes, or Aaron Wiggins. I mean, he played 4 minutes. How well is he really playing? You don't really know that. So
I don't expect Wiggins and Joe to play at all moving forward. I don't think you want to go 11, 12 deep. I just don't know about that. It's one thing that's being nitpicked as far as the coaching.
Since you talked about coaching, I mean, what about on the other side? Mitch Johnson kind of, just got promoted when Popovich, had to step aside. Does NBA coaching really matter? I don't know. You could debate that a little bit, I guess. But, I mean, I feel like he's done a pretty good job, taking over. Look, he's got a great team. He's got a Wembanyama, next-level player, elite talent on all of their roster, but I mean he's done a pretty good job.
Well, what I do like about these guys is that a lot of the guys like Castle, like Harper, like Vassell, man, they will attack that rim. They are going downhill, so they're all a little bit better, but they've played a lot. Whether it's minutes, it's 19 minutes a game without Wembanyama during regular season, and then 16, 17 more that he didn't play. So they have played. They played without him in Game 4 of the T-Wolves series. So, I mean, they have been without him enough. So, I just but Oklahoma City is extremely good, and that's when they need to catch up. They really need to speed up the tempo, and you saw it because when he was out, they were able to get a lot easier buckets that they just can't get when he's on the floor.
We just, I agree with that. It's funny. Yesterday, the Pels make a coaching hire, and we talk about, maybe he raises the floor a little bit, but this guy's not an elite coach. He's not going to take him anywhere. Well, look, I'm sorry, but watching that game last night, the West seems kind of locked up for the next 5 years anyway, between the Thunder and the Spurs. By the way, we just saw Ole Miss tie the game and a Missouri ABS challenge confirmed, just like we talked about, right on the edge of the plate. Missouri overturns a ball to a strike. It's 8-8 in the 7th inning.
8-8, bottom 7. Ole Miss still batting with 2 outs and a runner at first base in the first game at the Hoover Met. They are going to be behind schedule. Don't forget our friends at Legacy Title. Chad Reynolds at Legacy Title for all of your real estate closings. It's a full-service title company servicing all of South Louisiana. Their long-standing staff will execute your deal seamlessly. Ashley Donald, Adrian Galata, Michael Platt, Mariana Haynes, Natalie and Bradford Smith. Buying, building, refinancing. Nobody chooses but you. Choose Chad Reynolds at Legacy Title 296-0060. Ace is sizzling. We'll have him back with some picks when we return. Live at lunch, live at Mike Anderson's at 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Yanni from Mike Anderson Seafood on Lee Drive on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, not only is Ace hot in Major League Baseball, rolling now 12-3 in Major League Baseball, but he also added another top 5 major finisher, Justin Thomas, who was the clubhouse leader for quite some time, much longer than usual. Finished very strong with the Sunday performance. JT pays plus 750. Nice job, Ace. Let's keep it going.
Yeah, it was one heck of a weekend. I mean, anytime you can hit a wager like that, it certainly fits like a glove, plus 760 on one shot. I had some other clients that had it at plus 800, depending on where they played. And always nice to get now the first 2 majors, right? Going back to the Masters, we had Justin Rose as a top 5 finisher, plus 580. So already turning my attention to the U.S. Open, as I mentioned to you. I'll be there. Cox just coming up in another month out in Southampton. I'll be there and absolutely will be following, the PGA Tour for the next month, and we'll come up with another one for the U.S. Open. Looking forward to it.
Yes, indeed. Let's get to Major League Baseball. Again, you hit Schlittler on Friday night, the only game that the Yankees won of the Subway Series. Who are we looking at tonight?
Yeah, he's certainly looking to be a big game pitcher, somebody that you can count on. And I'd love to offer all your listeners an opportunity to get involved in everything I have, whether it's golf, baseball, NBA playoffs, hockey playoffs. Just text the word free picks to 631-805-6165. Anybody that's interested in getting that top-rated free pick texted to them every day, no hassles. This way they got their play already texted to them early in the day. You go about your day, and you make yourself some money by the end of the week. 631-805-6165. Just text the word free picks, and you're on board. Baseball tonight, let's get to it. We got another dominant pitching matchup here with Mizorowski going up for the Cleveland, going up against Ben Brown. Had to make him into a starter. He's been really solid. 8 scoreless innings in his first 2 starts with 10 innings pitched, got an ERA of 1.60 for the Cubs. He's been really one of their only bright spots of their pitching staff in the last couple of weeks. 2-0 in his career against Milwaukee with a 1.0 ERA. He's a flamethrower, but certainly nobody in Jacob Mizorowski's class. This guy right now is absolutely just throwing BBs. Throw the ball 100 miles an hour for him, even on the last pitch of the game, means nothing. He was 103 miles an hour, I believe, was his last inning last week. I mean, right now, 3-2 in the season, 2.12 ERA with Mizorowski, 2-0 in his career versus the Cubs last year in the NLDS playoffs with just a 1.29 ERA in big games. I love the way Mizorowski throws the ball. Right now, the way Ben Brown's throwing the ball, let's go with the under 8 runs. Mizorowski hasn't given up a run so far in all of May. Tied with Chris Sanchez from the Phillies with 80 strikeouts, to lead all of baseball. I mean, this is a guy that's going to throw a lot of strikeouts. Cubs right now scuffling. Total of under 8. That's only because of where the game is in Wrigley. Usually this total would probably be, I had it at 6.5. So I like that total of under 8. Give me the under 8 runs on Milwaukee and the Cubs tonight.
Wind blowing in at Wrigley. I'm seeing some 7.5s as the current line right now. Would you buy it to 8, or you just lay 7.5? Those are at DraftKings and MGM both.
I would buy that up to 8 and get on that under in case you get a 5-3 game. Push feels a heck of a lot better than that tough half-a-run loss. So I always guard against those kind of things. Let's get on the under 8 on that game. And even a prop bet on that game, Jimmy, we had him a couple of weeks ago with Mizorowski. He's done it now, several times. His last 2 outings, he had 11 strikeouts and then 10. So plus 8 strikeouts, plus 8.5 is minus 120. Plus 9 strikeouts or more is plus 187. Now it's betting down to 177. Absolutely take a chance on Mizorowski. I wouldn't even think it's a chance. This is something he does on a regular basis. He strikes people out. This is what he does. 9+ strikeouts plus 187, along with that under 8. It fits in line with my thinking on this game, is that Mizorowski is just going to dominate right now, just a very weak Cubs lineup.
All right, under 8 local shops, you buy that. It's 7.5 across the board now at minus 140. And Mizorowski, though, 9+ strikeouts plus 187. So money work in your favor in that one. So, and then a pick and all the chatter. I mean, with all the with the strike and the transportation, they still gonna. I still think those Knicks fans will find a way to get over to the Garden tonight. A lot of excitement in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, I was happy to make it into Manhattan yesterday. Really, really unscathed with any of that traffic. Absolutely crazy what's going on. But yes, huge game tonight. And as I was walking through the city, you can just feel the buzz. Just Knicks hats and jerseys everywhere. Everybody is amped up for this game. They were in this situation exactly at this point last year. They were the 3 seed last year. Home court advantage in the Eastern Finals against the 4 seed Indiana. Well, lo and behold, here they are, the 3 seed at home this year against the 4 seed Cleveland. Again, Game 1. Last year they let their guard down. The last couple of minutes of that Game 1, they let Indiana make that incredible comeback. Won the game, and it really turned the tide really for that entire series as Indiana went on to the finals. And the Knicks have been literally just, seething in that all year long. So this is something that they've absolutely been talking about all week. They've had 8 days off. That old argument about is it better to be well-rested or better to be playing, when you're on a roll. You can say Cleveland's on a roll because they won one big Game 7 on the road the other day, but they've also played 14 games. They got some old guys there on that team. Harden doesn't look exactly fresh-legged. He's not exactly playing great throughout the playoffs to begin with. They're going to absolutely target him just like every team has done so far in the playoffs. Detroit was doing it. Knicks are going to do it even more so. Target him, get him involved on pick and rolls and screens, where by the end of the game, he's going to be worn down. They got a bunch of long guys that they're going to throw at Mitchell. Bridges, Anunoby's going to be back. guys that come in off the bench, Alvarado, that play with a chip on their shoulder. They got Shamet coming off the bench as well, Mitchell Robinson. This team is loaded right now. 8 days off. They've got 7 straight wins in the playoffs by an average of 26.4 points a game. Number one right now of all playoff teams in second chance points on offense and defense as well. So they're really getting it done everywhere. Mike Brown, that simple adjustment he made of just getting Karl-Anthony Towns at the top of the key and facilitating the offense through him has made a world of difference with the way their offense is flowing. The Knicks are hitting all cylinders right now. When I could see this game being exactly kind of what happened to the Sixers. They won that tough Game 7, had to turn around in 2 days, come into Game 1, and it was an ambush, and the Knicks ran them off the court. There's going to be no letdown here. No letdown here for the Knicks after they get out to a big early lead in the second quarter or the third quarter. They're adamant about winning every single quarter. You know, that line dropped to 6.5 where you can only lay 125. I like that. Get me on the Knicks of giving 6.5 is what I did. All right, Knicks giving 6.5 to get out to a huge early lead in this series and really probably never look back. They're just much, much more talented than Cleveland.
All right, our 3 picks from Ace, who has been red hot. Knicks minus 6.5 in the basketball game tonight. Cubs and Brewers tonight. Again, blowing mostly, Max, from sort of third to first, so not directly in Wrigley Field.
Yeah, it shouldn't be blowing out or in either way.
Okay, so that line has been moved the total has been moved to 7.5 across the board. Buy it to 8 and minus 140 is the juice there at our local shops here, the DraftKings outlets at the Queen and Bally's. And then Mizorowski, 9+ strikeouts. That's a nice price at plus 187. Those 3 picks. You're looking for service. Aces services outside of Tuesday and Friday. Text free picks to the number 631-805-6165. 631-805-6165. Ace, let's keep it up, buddy. Good luck and good job, man. Let's keep it hot.
Absolutely. Let's keep rolling. Speak to you again on Friday. Have a great week, fellas.
Yes, indeed. Our buddy Ace Seminara, who's with us each and every Tuesday and Friday. So, the JT, kind of a good start, but he was, what did he shoot on Sunday?
5 under.
5 under?
He was even to start the day.
So him and Rod were the low scores on
no,
Sunday?
Kurt Kitayama shot a 7 under early
before the wind got going.
That was the tournament best round of the tournament from Kitayama. And that's why I thought maybe one of these guys from even even maybe one over could maybe post a special round and maybe get themselves in the mix. But we just didn't see anybody get there as Missouri is taking the lead in Hoover. By the way, they are 6 of 6, as I understand it, on catcher's challenges. The Missouri catcher is just killing this home plate umpire, unfortunately. But, so we now have a Missouri 9-8 lead in the top of the 8th.
So 9-8 in that one. Vanderbilt and Kentucky are scheduled to go at 1:30. They will be behind, so we'll be running behind. Maybe get some quicker games in, but these are all scheduled 45 minutes. They're all scheduled to last about 2 hours and 45 minutes. We are well over the pace, and we are not done yet. So runs galore at the Hoover Met. Early. What's the wind doing there today? I know it's hot. So
no
that
wind.
helps.
Basically
that helps,
no wind.
but no wind, but just a slugfest. Again, 15 games last year at the Hoover Met. 13 out the 15 went under. This one is flying over. Would this go off about 10.5?
I saw 11.5.
11.5. It's a 9-8. Missouri still batting in the top of the 8th inning. Runner at second and only 1 out over Ole Miss, the number 9 seed, and another pitching change for Ole Miss. So this will take a little time as well. Don't forget tomorrow. Where are we at tomorrow, Max? I'm sure we at Roca tomorrow, huh? So we'll have to see. We were over at Walk-Ons last week. So tomorrow we will be at I'm sorry. We will be at today's May 20th, right?
That's correct. 19th.
Wait, is Memorial Day is this coming Monday? Next Monday?
I think so.
The 25th.
Yeah.
All right. So we're at Iverstein. Going to find some things to throw on the grill.
All right.
Okay.
I'm excited.
All right. So we'll be at Iverstein's tomorrow for the show. Come on by and see us tomorrow. Of course, you can eat at their deli or the sandwiches, or eat at their hot plate line that they have each and every day as well. Here at Mike Anderson's, it's oyster night. That is oysters on a half shell every Tuesday night, or 5 to 9 p.m., or half price. Of course, we got the char grill going as well. Those big chunks of fresh garlic are really, really good. I mean, I love taking people over here that come in from out of town, like when Randy McKay was in town. We going to Mike Anderson's. We're going to get you a little seafood gumbo, a little crawfish etouffee, some raw oysters, some char grilled oysters. We'll get a little sample of some fried seafood as well. So he had a great time over here knocking it back. We'll come back and wrap it up live from Mike Anderson's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Yanni from Mike Anderson Seafood on Lee Drive on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Yeah, still batting in the top of the 8th inning. So Missouri with 2 on in the top of the 8th, 1 out, up 10-8 over the number 9 seed Ole Miss Rebels. So the don't let the Rebs get hot. So single elimination, right?
It is.
This is one they probably pitched down to try and just advance past the weakest team in the conference. The 8 o'clock scheduled start for LSU in Oklahoma is likely, more than likely, to be delayed. Just how much this first game is putting them considerably behind. So this is on its way to being well, it's going to be 4 hours. It's going to be 4.5 hours, something like that. So well over.
And the latest
anticipated 2:45 to finish, 45 minutes in between games. Way past that pace.
The latest tournament projection had Ole Miss as like an 18 rank, so that just outside of hosting. So they could have maybe made a run to host a regional next week, but if they lose this game, unlikely.
Yeah, that series loss, and I think they're actually a little bit better than Alabama, but they lost to 2 close games. And Alabama, Ole Miss, they may have even 10-run them in the middle game, but that was a damaging loss over the last weekend as well. Who did they play their last home series? Was it Auburn? No, I'm not sure. Will Wade getting some backlash, according to
Jeff Goodman of Field of 68 says a top 20 coach says Will Wade is being an idiot a-hole for the sake of being an idiot. Say that again. What you're doing is blanking it up for everyone else. They're not happy about R.J. Lewis.
Not my job, not my coach's job to please the competition. Keep going, Willie Wade. Do your thing. We'll be at Iverstein tomorrow from Mike Anderson's. For Jordan back in the studio, pushing all